is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where business owners share their wisdom. It's short, to the point, to respect people's time. And because we know, we all know transforming possibility happens really fast and it leads to lasting results. So let's get to it. Enough of that. Brian, question number one in a few sentences. Tell me who you are and what you do.
So my name is Brian Covey, live in Nashville, Tennessee with my bride, Nicole, married 19 years, 3 kids, former professional soccer player, executive over at loanDepot, just trying to live life to the fullest, man.
Love it. And the energy you bring too. That's so clear. I love it. Question number 2, Brian, now that everybody knows you, what's the best thing about being in business, my man?
Oh, so I love the opportunity to connect with people all across. I did that in sports, but in business as well. I traveled as a youth soccer player and I got to play at some pretty cool venues across overseas and all that. I found in business, especially the last 2 years even, you meet amazing people that if you were not in business, you weren't putting yourself out there, you didn't meet new clients, you didn't have customers referring you to other people, just like we got connected. It's one of those where you get to meet people that I think will inspire and shape your world, what you think, what you see, what you believe, and all that. So for me, it's about the people, because I've often found there's enough money for everybody to go around. There's enough opportunity for everybody to go around, but people are unique. And I think God's kind of uniquely gifted them. I love people. I mean, it's why I'm in it, and fires me up every day is how can I be my best and how can I make others around me better?
I absolutely love your answer. You look, Brian, I'm going to be candid, and all of you listening, a lot of people say like freedom, control of my own thing, but peopling, we're in the people business. I absolutely love your answer, Brian. Thank you for bringing it. Question number 3. And I have to tell you, Brian, this is one of my favorite questions. So as a system guy, as a pattern guy, like this really rocks the house, right? We hear from other business owners while we're peopling, of course, that people are getting so much business that the chaos is causing overwhelm sometimes. Would you be willing to share your thoughts, Brian, on that subject?
Well, we experienced that in the mortgage industry in 2020, where rates dropped to an all-time low. We've never seen it before. There was more demand we've ever seen. The housing market had a shortage of inventory. So we had a challenge, a pretty big challenge. But what on the other side of it, the people that were able to pivot and adapt won. And we won big. But here's what we did, I would share with you, is we weren't afraid to hire people with lesser experience that normally we wouldn't have hired. But during that season, we had to fulfill orders, right? We had people that needed us. They needed our services. If they didn't go to us, they would go to someone else. I wasn't willing just to sit by and let that happen. And so our team got very aggressive. We hired people, we did outreach, we worked our networks, we figured out creative ways to incent the team, and we worked overtime. We did work share, we delegated. You can look at your processes and you can find some efficiencies or inefficiencies. What are some steps we could take out of that? And in our world, there's some digital efficiencies where less paperwork, we could digitally automate parts of the process. We started to look at our technology. Where could technology save time and people to automate some of the functions that then certain parts of the process, you still have to have people driving those. And so we found those, and I'll tell you, it's made us better, because now that's not only saved costs, but that saved time. Our team feels better. This technology thing's a journey. So anybody that's out there listening, I would say embrace the technology and find areas you may not be maximizing the technology you have, because oftentimes there's things left on the shelf that we're using 50% of the technology we actually have at our disposal. What if you could up that to 70, 80, or even 100%? Save time, save money, win.
Wonderful. Wonderful. What a winning answer. All joking aside, when we harness technology in order to improve our systems and processes and make it easier for here we go again, you circled right back to our people. What a great way of harnessing technology. I love it. And let's face it, look, if you're listening or you're watching and you're thinking like technology is the bane of my existence, I think we've all probably felt that a time or two. It's just pushing through it, moving through it. And so I love how you framed that, Brian. Thank you for sharing. Question number 4. This is a fun one. What other successful business owners, like yourself, of course, Brian, highly successful as you are, should be on the Unlimited Wisdom podcast?
Selfishly, I'm gonna plug a couple folks over at our team, because I think we have some killer people in leadership at loanDepot. So few of my buddies out there. I was with Chad Anderson earlier. He's awesome. He's in Nashville. He's educating people on how to buy a home the right way, all the options. Good friend of mine, Alec Hansen, wrote a book, Bypassed, incredible, about the modern mortgage professional, but also like the digital disruption in almost every industry that's out there. Chris Median, good friend of mine. He's got a podcast. He's one of the most successful recruiters, team builders. Stacy Chevalier, she's out in Seattle, Washington area, and she has built an incredible team. And I love the way that she has built a culture that's really bulletproof in a lot of ways throughout seasonality and things that come and go. So I'd say there's 4 awesome people. I'm sure there's more, but I'm plugging our team loanDepot because we got something special over here.
I love it. I love it. And sincerely, for everybody, anybody watching or listening, I want to let you know this is 100% unscripted. So he didn't really have, Brian, sometimes I give listeners, the questions ahead of time because I don't want anybody to be nervous on these things. But, I know you didn't, we just talked about it. You didn't look at those questions prior to. This is totally 100. And you just, the way that flowed off of your tongue, my friend, I celebrate you. I celebrate your team, because that right there is walking the talk. People here like walking the talk. My friend, just walked the talk, and I love that. So not only did you highlight the person, but you highlighted one of the things that they're great at, and I just love that. So thank you very much. Look forward to connecting with the team as well. Let's get to some wisdom, Brian. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Okay. What piece of wisdom, with all your vast experience, especially in the industry you're in right now, what piece of wisdom would you share with other business owners?
Wow. So as I reflect back, I've been 20 years in mortgage real estate, and something I've learned is, and it is going to circle back to people in kind of an interesting way, is we have to start with ourselves. And the more you can commit to knowing yourself, understanding who you are, where your blind spots are, but also where you're great, you're going to bring out the best in others. And I think it was Matthew McConaughey years ago was giving a speech. They were asking, like, who's your hero? I'll never forget, and I've embodied this, has been one of my things, is I'm chasing the Brian 5 years, 10 years down the road, the best dad, the best husband, the best leader, the best friend, right? Like all of those things. The wisdom I would impart is we have to do the work. Nobody's coming to do it for us. Nobody's coming to save us and like give us all the tools and skills that we need to win at life. And as you start to level up, watch how your relationships with your family, your friends, and your teammates improves. And everybody wants to be around a winner, right? Like we always want to be around successful people, and you want to learn what they're doing. Why not become that person? And then watch how your circle changes, and you'll start to have more successful people that you attract into your life. So that'd be my wisdom, is commit to learning and growing, hire a coach, be intentional about it, and don't let fate and just accidental success happen. Be intentional.
That the way you deliver that is fantastic. And there's a lot of wisdom in there. So anybody listening or watching, I encourage you to really listen. We're going to dive in here just a little bit, one step deeper, but really listen, and you scroll back if you need to. Listen to what he said. There's a real power in that very short, paragraph form statement that you made. It was very clear. For someone, Brian, who's just starting out, because we get a variety of business owners. Some are seasoned, some are just starting out. For those just starting out, what would you suggest them to your? So I heard what you said. Well received. Thank you. But what's one thing that you would say here? Look, I've really learned this. Or what's one frequently asked question that you've had over the course of 20 years?
Yeah. So I would say this is like any great team, any great business owner, any great business that you've probably enjoyed doing business with, or you've had a great, experience with them. What you'll find is they're very clear on what they do and how they do it, and really like why they do it. Now think about the big picture. You got the 30,000 foot like macro view, is what is the problem you're solving? And are you passionate about what you deliver, right? Like in our industry, I'm passionate about helping people buy their first home, second home, third home, building teams, helping people actually use mortgage financing as a wealth building tool, not a debt. And I think once you get clear on what you do and why you do it, like I don't wake up and need people to motivate me or inspire me or any of that stuff. Like it helps. But I think when you get clear as a business owner, you're going to have good years, bad years, good months, bad months, all that stuff. It is what it is. It's life. And what I would encourage you to do is the best years I've had, the best seasons I've had, I can look around me and I've surrounded myself with the best people, and I've gotten out of the way. Knowing what I do best helped. because then I could find people on my team that would complement the areas, quite honestly, I'm not good at. Those are not my strengths. But what I have really kind of learned through those years is if I can surround myself with people that have those skills that I need, then collectively we are going to win. We're going to provide the best service, the best experience. People are going to love working here. I think that's what it's about. Too many business owners try to go at it as a solo project. And if you look up true entrepreneurs, yes, they're the ones that take the risk, but the best entrepreneurs surround themselves with entrepreneurs like myself. I work for a company. We have a CEO. We went public this year. Guess what? It's phenomenal being an entrepreneur. And I've resided into that space where I know my role, I have clarity, and I also know the roles and the people that I want to bring along with me that want to be successful. And so I'd say for that, don't try to do it all yourself. Ask for help. Get people around you, and you'll find there's a lot of people that actually want to see you win when you're doing it for the right reasons, and that you have clarity about what you're trying to accomplish and make an impact in the world.
Boom. I literally just want to take my mic and just drop a mic. You like there's so many little, sincerely, so many little nuggets that you've dropped in there that I can tell that you've walked through some of these, the probably challenges and hardships throughout your career over and over again. And the way you delivered it, you can really tell. Some of the things that really stood out to me there is like working in your strengths, having crystal clear clarity of what it is you do. And there's a lot of people, look, and if you're one of those people right now who's struggling with that, because it takes time, right? There's so much notion on the internet today that it's like, oh, you can have it in 5 minutes. Clarity is really like peeling back an onion. And so learning something that you do, that you love, that you do takes time. So don't get down on yourself, but stay the course. And once you do, then you do wake up. You don't need that motivation. I love what you said, Brian. Inspiration comes from the inside, right? And maybe a little bit of motivation every day is okay, but it's not really needed. It's intrinsic motivation. So I wanted to circle back to that, because that's a powerful statement that you made, and not one we hear a whole lot online today. So very powerful stuff, my man. I appreciate you. Since we're doing so well, I have one more question for you if you're willing to answer it. It's about teamwork, because you said, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but you're talking about your people and your team. And I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs. This is a powerful question. There's a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of solopreneurs, a lot of people in business in general, regardless of the industry and space, they have trouble building their team. So, and that's a challenging thing, I'm sure, as you know, like it's challenging for everyone. It's a space we have to move through. What advice would you give someone looking to build their team if they're just starting out? Any advice?
Love that. So I made a shift about 4 years ago, and I'll share from my own personal experience. In the past, I'd recruited based on production, based on numbers, based on revenue, based on all these things that, quite honestly, they're replaceable. No one really taught me that lesson earlier in life. True people with character, integrity, passion, they're going to make other people better. They're not replaceable. They're the ones you want. So hire based on the cultural fit to your team is what I found in my experience is we can achieve the business results with the right people. But I will tell you emphatically, I've had teams that have put up numbers and it was short-lived because there were people on the team that were self-consumed. They had egos. They didn't want to help other people. And they didn't build a collective culture that made the team rise up and the team better. They were all about themselves and their ego. And so as you're hiring, have clarity around who you're hiring more than really what you're hiring for in the sense of the skills. And I've learned in our industry, look, I can go through so many people on our team. I was looking the other day and there were 10 people I know, and I believe it is our top 50. They have less than 2 years experience in the mortgage industry. So we can't say it can't be trained. But I met with someone this morning on our team and I loved what he shared with me. He's like, Brian, I have the sales skills. I didn't have the mortgage acumen, but you guys have taught me that. And so he brought in the skills that we wanted on one side, but his character, his integrity, who he is as a person, I love it. So hire for those things and don't get trapped. If you feel in your gut and your intuition, I've avoided that a couple times, and it's when I've made bad hires. Trust your gut and your intuition about the person. Bring on only the people. Say no to the people that you don't really feel all in on. So you can say yes to the great people. And I'll just share this. I'll leave it with this is There's times that I've said yes to someone because you felt the pressure, you got to get the results. We all feel that at times. We're like, oh, we just need to get there. We need to get there. Don't make that mistake. Hire and go all in on the people that you're all in on, and it'll be reciprocated. When you're not all in on somebody, they're probably not all in on you and what your mission is. It won't work.
Such powerful stuff. I thank you for sharing that, Brian. I really appreciate it. And would you agree, hire slow, fire fast?
Oh, wow. I mean, that's probably one of those harder to do than it is to think about. But yes, I would say right now I'm going through one of those seasons that's absolutely true, right? And that's one of those that over time it's proven to be the right thing. And trust your intuition. Work on that. I believe that intuition and gut that people talk about is actually a muscle. I probably have a different philosophy on this. I think the more you work it and the more you trust yourself, you're actually going to find the stronger that muscle gets. And my wife says all the time, I give her credit. She's like, you need to go with your gut and your intuition. It is right over so many other things. And many of us just need to trust ourselves.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I would be inclined to agree with you. Not that it matters to you, but I'd be inclined to agree. I love that. You definitely brought me back to a few points throughout my career where I wish I would have just listened to that intuition. And so if your gut's telling you something, it's probably right. So great advice, and the depth of the advice that you delivered was wonderful. Thank you, Brian. So we're gonna shift gears here, and we're gonna talk about something big. I mean, I think but again, and we were joking about this at the beginning, like we work to live, not live to work, and we don't want to get that backwards, right? I'm always careful about that statement. But before we do, I really want to hear about you're so generous and gracious, but what are some of the initiatives that you're doing in your business right now? What's working for you? I'd love to just share something you're working on right now in your own business, in your space, in your industry.
Oh, I love that. So I'll just what we're focused on for 2022, which is going to be a very different year. Inflation's up. We've got this whole thing with Zillow and iBuyers, and we've got the market's supposed to shrink next year, whatever, right? So we're aware of all those things. And I like to have context around it. What our team has realized is there's a few trends that if you follow the data, a lot of times will lead you to what your next action and what you should do. And so I've been looking at the data of where customers actually go to find a mortgage. Where do they go to buy a home? Well, it used to be they would go in their local bank. It used to be they would call their friend. It used to be they would go back to the person that did their mortgage before or sold them a home before, like real estate agents. The reality is now the shift is quite apparent. Customers go online. They start online. The amount of leads and people that just go online to search for their mortgage payment, how much I qualify for, all of that. So if we need to show up online, I believe your personal brand matters as much, if not more, than the company brand. People do business with people. And so we are engaging with our team doing content days. Actually did part of that this morning myself. And we're doing those to help our team, one, get comfortable in front of a camera, which many are not. We're going to help them with that. We're going to give them topics that are relevant so they can educate customers. They can be their guide. And it's also a business development tool. I think a lot of times right now, the last 2 years, if you couldn't meet somebody in person, what was your backup strategy? Were you great on the phone making cold calls? Did you have a brand online? Because the numbers in Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere, LinkedIn, they're still surging. There's more people joining. There's more activity. People spend time. So what we're going to do is help our teams build their personal brands. And along the way, we're helping them with how do you cultivate cold leads to warm leads? I think that's a skill that's not being taught today in our industry and many others. Look, basic sales is not going away. And we want to teach our team to be experts, as you've got to be able to build that likability, that trust factor. And so we're going to lean on those. Those to me are fundamentals. Building your personal brand, we're going to teach you how to do that. And then secondarily, we want to teach people how that sales guide can create an experience where they're not looking for the next referral every day showing up. We're going to have so many referrals coming in that we're trying to figure out, okay, how do we take care of all these customers and continue to repeat that process? That creates repeat referrals, right? And more referrals. And so that's where I'm leaning in. There's basic blocking and tackling stuff in there with business planning, scripting, one-on-one coaching, all those things. To me though, that's just running the business. But those would be two pillars I would tell you right now that we're focused on that are going to help us dominate next year.
I absolutely love that. Just right on point for trend and what's happening. And wow, that's powerful stuff. And goes right back. I'm seeing a theme here, my friend. Goes right back to the peopling, right? Take care of your people. Without saying leadership, I don't think that word has been mentioned not one time. We've illustrated what leadership really is. And so I really appreciate this conversation, Brian. Thank you. What's the most fun vacation you've ever had?
Oh man. So I will say our favorite place we go is in the Panhandle, Florida, and our family goes. We get to spend a lot of time. There's a ton of memories that are created there. But if you were to ask my wife and I both, we got a chance to go to Italy before the pandemic, and phenomenal. I mean, I've traveled playing soccer and done all that, but I will say for anyone that's not been to Italy, we went through a tour almost 7 days. I was just the culture, the people, the food, just the experience. Like I look back, that's probably one of the coolest trips that we've done. And then, since we get to go to the beach a lot, that's a lot of fun too. My kids might say Disney. They'd probably throw it in there, but that's ours. And we've been blessed to get to travel to some cool places, but I'm going with Italy.
I love it. I love it. Florida, Italy, Disneyland, beach. I think I was, well, not in the Panhandle, but I was on the beach in Florida yesterday. I love it. I love it, Brian. All right, I'm going to throw one. We're doing okay on time. I'm going to throw one more at you. What's one thing? Is there something that you'd love people to know about you that oftentimes people don't know about you?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think most people know a lot. You can read bios, people look up what's there and on there. But I'm a person that I am trying to create almost a revolution in a way of I was brought up early 2001. I got into the business, so almost 20 years later. And I think there was a separation of work and personal life. And what people may not know about me is I am very intentional about bringing mental and physical health and awareness and fitness to the forefront. Because I think if we can get this right, we can make an impact in the community in our world a lot more than we think. And I'm very passionate about that piece because I believe in this work-life balance that some people will dispute and say it doesn't exist. I believe it does. You look up balance in the dictionary, it'll actually tell you that it's not equal parts. It could be separate parts, but there's a balance and a healthy proportion of that. And I would love for more people to go on that journey and kind of follow along. That's what a lot of my content you'll see is I'm trying to bring in not only what I believe we should be doing, but how to do it and why we should be leaning into that. Because if you get the family piece right, I believe you're going to be a better business leader, teammate, contributor into the world. I'd love to see more of that. We've got enough negative news, enough crap out there that's just bringing us down. I want to be a light and kind of that lighthouse to the world. So some people may not know that about me. But that's what drives me. That's why I started doing more content. That's why I started doing more videos. And I got out of my own way and stopped being comfortable. And I got very comfortable being uncomfortable, trying some stuff. So people may not know that. It doesn't come second nature to me. I've worked my tail off for over 5 years trying to learn some of this, start a podcast, write a book, do all that. That was not in the cards for me, I didn't think. And I went and did it.
And here you are. Brian, you, my friend, are a beacon of light and a great leader. It's just been a pleasure having you on. So and I really mean that sincerely because this is an investment of time. So I know you took a chunk out of your day to connect with people here and deliver the best that you can. And you've done a magnificent job. So you truly are a beacon of light. I appreciate that. What's the website? So when somebody watches this or they listen to it and they're like, wow, that guy is so sharp, a beacon of light. And I have to reach out to him. How can they do that? Social media, website? What is that for you?
Yep. So we're revamping our website. It's www.briancovey.com, which will have pretty much access to everything. I'm active on Instagram. Somebody had taken Brian Covey, so I had to do the Brian Covey. So that's me. You'll see my pictures and all that there. And then I'm active on LinkedIn, obviously on Facebook. So DM me, send me a message. I would love to connect up if it's made an impact in your life. You probably heard today, I love connecting up with people. I think it's why we're here, to make a difference. And the only way we can do that is by just reaching out, make friends, connect up with other people. You never know where that friendship and that connection could go.
Absolutely love it. Thanks again for being on. This is Brad A. Milford with the Unlimited Business Wisdom Podcast, where our business owners are making, here's the funny part, they're making like 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, 10 figures, 12 figures. But you know what? It's not all about the money. It's also about sharing their wisdom and creating global impact. Thanks for joining us.